My grandma and grandpa live on a farm in the country. We took the train there from the city, and it was so much fun. We sat down in the car with windows all over, even the roof. The conductor said, "All aboard!" and the train pulled out of the station. We saw lots of people along the way, and when we went across the street, all the cars had to stop at the crossing gate. My little brother and I stood in the window and waved at the drivers. By the time we got to Grandma and Grandpa's house, it was really late, and dark too. My brother and I went straight to bed and fell fast asleep. By the next morning, we woke up bright and early. I just love waking up on the farm. Good morning, sun, that's what I always say. Good morning, world, it's a wonderful day. Wake up, flowers, get up, bees. Tell the birds to start singing, please. Good morning, sky, you never look so blue. Good morning, friends, we've got a lot to do. I got a feeling today's the day. Something grand is gonna come our way. Wake up, butterfly, spread your wings. Get up, bluebells, it's time to ring. Good morning, sky, you never look so blue. Good morning, friends, we've got a lot to do. I got a feeling today's the day. Something grand is gonna come our way. As soon as we got up, my little brother and I put on our clothes and ran downstairs. "I want to be a farmer, I want to be a farmer," my brother kept saying. "Well, young fella, you can't be a farmer," said my grandpa, "unless you have a farmer's hat." And then he took off his big straw hat and put it on my brother's head. Did he look funny or what? "But what does a farmer do?" my little brother asked. "He feeds the animals," Grandpa said. "So why don't the two of you go out and feed the chickens and the piglet and the baby goat?" "Look at me, Cricket. I'm a farmer, my brother kept saying, and we both ate breakfast as fast as we could. After breakfast, Grandma gave us some feed, and we went outside to the chicken coop. Cluck, 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 to the chickens as I threw a handful of feed. They pecked, and in about a second, all the feed was gone. My brother took a handful too, and he leaned way over the fence, but just then a big wind came along. "Watch out," I said to my brother, but the wind blew his hat right into the coop. The chickens must have thought it was something to eat, because they started pecking at it right away. "Oh no," said my brother, and he ran into the chicken coop to save Grandpa's hat. "Oh no," I said as the chickens started flapping all over the place. Well, it took about an hour, but my brother finally got his hat out of the chicken coop. "That's a pretty messy farmer's hat," I said, but my brother didn't care. "I want to be a farmer," he just said, and put the hat back on his head. Next, we got some table scraps and went over to the piglet's pen. "Oink, oink, oink," said the piglet as we sat on the fence and threw in the scraps. Just then another big wind came along. "Hold on to your hat," I said to my brother, but the wind blew his hat right into the pen. The piglet must have thought it was something to eat, because he started snuffling at the hat right away. "Oh no," said my brother, and he jumped into the pig pen to save Grandpa's hat. "Oh no," I said as he splashed mud all over me and everything. The piglet started chasing my brother, so I jumped in and I started chasing them both. Well, it took about an hour, but my brother finally got his hat back out of the pen. "That's a pretty muddy farmer's hat," I said, but my brother didn't care. "I want to be a farmer," he just said, and he put the hat back on his head. Next, we got some carrot tops and went over to the goat corral. "Bah, bah," said the baby goat as we gave him the carrot tops through the fence. Just then, another big wind came along. "Keep your hat on your head this time," I said to my brother, and this time he held on it good and tight. But then, guess what? The baby goat stuck his head through the fence and grabbed hold of the hat. He really did think it was something to eat. "Oh no," my brother and I said, and we grabbed onto the hat too. "Now pull real hard," I said, "or we'll never get Grandpa's hat back again." Well, it took about an hour, but we finally got that hat away from the goat. "That's a pretty yucky farmer's hat," I said to my little brother, and this time he started crying and didn't put the hat back on his head. "I'm sorry, kiddo," I said. "Don't cry. You can still be a farmer." "I don't want to be a farmer. I don't want to be a farmer," he cried. Just then, Grandpa came along. "What's the matter, young young fella, he said. My brother told him all about the chickens and the piglet and the goat, and then he showed Grandpa the hat. Grandpa just laughed and laughed. Don't worry, he said. I've got a dozen more hats just like it. And you know what? When I was a young whippersnapper about your age, the same thing happened to me. That made my brother feel a lot better. And it made me laugh thinking about my grandpa being a whippersnapper. Was that a funny story or what? Grandpa told us lots of stories about when he was a little boy on the farm, and he taught us a song he used to sing. It's called Bingo, and it's about a farmer and his dog. You might already know it, but if you don't, I'll teach it to you. Here's how it goes. There was a farmer, had a dog, and Bingo was his name. Oh, sing that much with me now. There was a farmer, had a dog, and Bingo was his name. Oh, good. Now we're going to spell the dog's name. Bingo is spelled B-I-N-G-O. And when you sing it, it sounds like this. B-I-N-G-O, 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 and Bingo was his name. Now let's sing the whole thing all together. There was a farmer, had a dog, and Bingo was his name. Oh, B-I-N-G-O, 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 and Bingo was his name. That was great. Let's sing it again. But this time, instead of singing the letter B, clap your hands. Try it. You'll see. It's fun. There was a farmer, had a dog, and Bingo was his name. Oh, clap your hands one time. I-N-G-O, 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 and Bingo was his name. Great. Now this time, clap your hands twice instead of singing the first two letters. Let's try it. There was a farmer, had a dog, and Bingo was his name. Oh, now clap 2 times. N-G-O, 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 and Bingo was his name. This time, clap your hands 3 times. There was a farmer, had a dog, and Bingo was his name. Oh, G-O, 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 and Bingo was his name. Oh, are you great or what? You can sing that song with your friends and keep right on going. Clap 4 times and just sing the letter O. And then clap 5 times and don't sing any letters at all. Guess what? I found a tug twister right here on the farm. My grandpa asked me to go and check on the pigs in the big pig pen. That sure sounded like a tongue twister to me. So I asked my grandpa to say big pig pen 3 times in a row as fast as he could. And you know what? He couldn't do it. He laughed real hard, and then I tried to do it. I said, big pig pen, big pen, big pig pen. I couldn't do it either. Why don't you try it? Say big pig pen 3 times in a row as fast as you can. You can ask your friends to try it. It's lots of fun. This song's about a farmer who likes to sleep late, but the barnyard animals want him to wake up and feed them. I'll sing and you make the animal noises. Here goes. The farmer is sleeping, but the barnyard is awake. I'll get him up, said the cow, with all the noise I'll make. Moo, 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 get up for goodness sake. How can you keep on sleeping when we are all awake? I'll name another animal this time, and you help me make the sound. The farmer is sleeping, but the barnyard is awake. I'll get him up, said the hen, with all the noise I'll make. Cluck, 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 get up for goodness sake. How can you keep on sleeping when we are all awake? Now you think of an animal and make the sound. Here we go. The farmer is sleeping, but the barnyard is awake. I'll get him up, said the, with all the noise I'll make. Get up for goodness sake. How can you keep on sleeping when we are all awake? This is a story about living in the country. You can find all kinds of neat country things to do in your activity book. If you want, you can do one of them while I'm talking to you. Here goes. Once upon a time, there was a little mouse who lived in the same city as my Aunt Jane. home when I went there on vacation. The City Mouse, that was his name, by the way, had a little cousin who lived in the country, and his name was the Country Mouse. The City Mouse just loved living in the big city. He loved the crowded streets and the tall buildings and the bright lights at night. The City Mouse always had lots of things to do and lots of places to go and lots of people to see. But one night the City Mouse came into my room and said, "Cricket, I'm exhausted. Rush, rush, rush is all I do. I need a break." "What you need is a vacation," I said to the City Mouse. "Why don't you come to the country with us?" "Splendid idea," said the City Mouse. "I can visit my country cousin. Nothing ever happens in the country." So I made a nice comfy place in a shoebox, and I took the City Mouse with me when we went to visit Grandma and Grandpa. I kept the shoebox on my lap the whole way on the train. As soon as we got to the country, the City Mouse hopped out and headed straight for his cousin's house. "See you later," said the City Mouse. "Have a good rest," I told him. "I'll pick you up in 2 days." The Country Mouse lived in a snug little corner of Grandma and Grandpa's barn. He was proud to show his city cousin all around his house. First he pointed out his clean straw bed, and then his cupboard full of food, and then they went outside to see his bath puddle by the water trough. "Good gracious, cousin, how can you bear to live in such a place?" said the City Mouse. "No heat, no electricity, no running water. It's so old-fashioned. I shall have no trouble getting a good rest." Just then a huge tractor rumbled by. It was so big and noisy, it scared the wits out of the City Mouse. But the Country Mouse was used to the tractors. He just looked at his trembling cousin and said, "Did you say old-fashioned?" "Never mind," said the City Mouse. Then the Country Mouse introduced his cousin to some of his friends on the farm. They visited an old dog who was taking a nap, and a hen who was laying an egg, and a duck who was floating in a pond. As soon as the City Mouse had smiled his last smile, he said, "Good gracious, cousin, how can you bear to spend time with such people? They're so boring. I shall have no trouble getting a good rest." Just then the cows came back from the pasture. They'd seen lots of things that day and told everyone all about it. They were so big and noisy, they scared the wits out of the City Mouse. The Country Mouse was used to cows. He just looked at his trembling cousin and said, "Did you say boring?" "Never mind," said the City Mouse. Then the Country Mouse invited his cousin to sit down to dinner. He'd put out his best seeds, his juiciest berries, and his choicest morsels. As soon as the City Mouse sat down at the table, he said, "Good gracious, cousin, how can you bear to eat all this rubbish? No cheese, no peanut butter, no chocolate cake. In the city I dine every night, only on the tastiest dishes." Just then, an owl happened to be flying by. He swooped down and tried to snatch the little mice. The Country Mouse was used to the owl, but it scared the wits out of the City Mouse. He was so upset, he ran all the way to the house and hid under my bed. "What's the matter, City Mouse?" I said when I woke up. "I want to go home, Cricket," said the City Mouse, "back to the quiet and restful city." So I opened my shoebox and the City Mouse hopped in and didn't come out till we got back to the city. "I'm so happy my vacation is over," the City Mouse said to me. "There really is no place like home." Was that a cute story or what? Golly gee, I sure have had a good time spending my vacation with you. I'm so glad you're my friend. You're the very most fun I've ever found, and you're my friend. You're especially nice to be around, and you're my friend. I'm so happy I've got a pal to tell my feelings to. What a playmate you've been, thanks for being my friend. If you want to play some more, you can turn the tape over now, or you can talk and I'll listen for a while. And remember, I'll be talking to ya.